Welcome back to In Focus. We have some more disturbing news regarding our public schools. No surprise there. Richland School District in South Carolina attempted to remove guest access to their online library catalog, although they failed to do so because parents gained access through a different online system. And what they found might answer why the school district didn't want them to see inside it to begin with. 29 book options for gender identity and stories about transgender kids using opposite-sex bathrooms, cross-dressing toddlers, and even ones about racist founding fathers were all found in the elementary school category. The high school category had books with pornographic material. Yes, sexually explicit pornographic material. Parents also submitted a FOIA request last month and found out that Richland's library media specialist, Amy Whitfield, was the one that sent out an email asking that the guest access be removed immediately. The email was sent out per request of the district's academic officer, Nancy Gregory, and they have since disclosed the email. This is happening everywhere, and parents are increasingly doing something about it. Take Stetson Middle School, for example, in Westchester, Pennsylvania. The school displayed drag queens, pride flags, LGBTQ activists all over the school, on the walls, for Pride Month. Just your typical public school nowadays. As a result, 2 families there have taken their children out of that Pennsylvania school. In fact, our guest with us today is one of those parents. He removed his child from the Westchester School District due to the woke indoctrination, and he joins me now, a parent of one of the Stetson Middle School students, Jim Jacobs. Jim, thank you for being here and for sharing this story. So Stetson Middle School was celebrating Pride Month, which in my opinion is already a bridge too far, but they were celebrating Pride Month. A lot of schools around the country are doing that now, and kids, from what I understand, were wearing pride flags as capes, and your son wanted to wear an American flag or a Blue Lives Matter flag as a cape, and when he did, he was asked to remove it.
Yeah, that's what I just don't understand about these schools, and that's exactly what happened. Is you were allowed to wear pride flags during the week, and there's no problem with that. No one has a problem with people being gay. Just they don't. And it was okay, but if they're all wearing flags and pride flags, we want to wear our flag. I want to wear a Blue Lives Matter flag. My father was a Philadelphia police officer for over 30 years. I have 2 close friends who left behind families who passed away who were police officers. And Blue Lives Matter is a very near and dear, a very dear flag to us. So my son wanted to wear it. And there were other kids who wanted to wear the American flag. I mean, they're proud of America. So why can't they wear the flag in a public school? And they were told, no, you can't wear the pride flags are okay to wear, but you have to take your flags off and put them in your locker. And I just find this absolutely crazy. Is it a public school or is it a government school? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, really they're one and the same. These are government buildings, and that's almost what makes it worse. Is that our government, our people that work in our public education system, which is funded by the United States government, you can't even wear a United States flag without getting it scolded for it. But meanwhile, you can flaunt about any other flag you want. I'm sure you could wear the Ukraine flag. I'm sure you could wear a BLM flag, and obviously you were allowed to wear a pride flag, but you weren't allowed to wear the flag of this nation because it's apparently offensive. How do you feel as a parent who has, you had your kids in this public education system? How do you feel about knowing where these schools' priorities lie now?
Well, the scary part about it is the parents don't know.
Yeah.
We really need to create awareness of this, because it's not until you speak with other parents that, oh, that happened to Sally, that happened to Billy, that happened, all similar type of things. And I don't know how this is supposed to be a democracy, how a small group of teachers pass this stuff through to be taught with no feedback or anything from the parents. I mean, some of the people they had following on the wall it's not, it is, drag queens, and like they have they have a pride flag, and they have this Bianca Del Rey, who I had never heard of, but there's on the wall a QR code to follow this person. Okay, what Nimrod said this is a person that you should look up to is beyond me, because as soon as I saw this picture and I saw the name. I looked it up. It's a transgender, or no, it's not a transgender. It's a drag queen, raunchy comedian. I YouTube them, never heard of them. Every other word's a four-letter word, talking about threesomes, talking about heroin use. What teacher or administration says this is who we want our 10-year-old or 11-year-olds to look up to? And it's not, and they make it, if you complain, that you're anti-gay, and that's not it. There are plenty of people in the gay community who are involved with charities and this and that, who they could put, Carl Nassib is a football player right in our backyard who, he's on the United Way. He's a very big advocate. He came out, he played for the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, he was the first openly gay NFL. He did it for the kids. He lives in the same neighborhood. Why don't they put a picture of him? Not one picture of him. They go so far to the other extreme. And my 11-year-old is supposed to look up to some raunchy comedian drag queen person? Give me a break. It's a joke and it shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I totally agree. And these schools actively tell students to look up to these raunchy drag queens and to look down on our founding fathers and look down on the police in America. It's totally inexcusable. And when we push back on this, Jim, when we say, hey, this isn't right, what you're doing to these kids, and when parents even say that, what you're doing to my kid is not right, they will say, no, it's not your kid. When that kid goes into the building, it's our kid. That is our child. You hear teachers use the term, my kids, my children. You hear people like Joe Biden saying, we parents, whatever happens in the public school, that's actually not your business. This is a common position on the left today, that the teachers, when those kids are in the classroom, they own your child. How do you feel about teachers having that mindset?
I know a number of teachers on a personal level, and they come up to me and they say, you know what, we can't say anything because we're afraid of getting fired. And this country was founded on freedom of speech. I said, why don't they go take the whole class down to the Constitution Center right here at 6th and Market in Philadelphia? And, this is what I encourage parents to do, right? They have a life-size picture of the Constitution, and John Hancock, right, signed his name super big because he knew if this thing didn't work, he was signing his death warrant. Parents have to be involved, knowing what their students are learning, and it's so tough now because when I talk to parents, it'll go right to the student, right to the parents have no idea what's being said, and it all comes down third hand. Why isn't there a committee to, when you're dealing with these issues of race, gender, why isn't there a committee looking at that? Why is it just passed through? I don't understand why. We're the taxpayers, Right. And they try to construe it that if you complain, well, you're just anti this and anti that. And that's not the case at all. And it's a joke. The school system has to change. These teachers who are pushing this really got to look themselves in the mirror, because my kid is going to be educated. Whatever happened to why is capitalism bad? Why is history bad? Why are cops bad? These are stereotypes that they are propagating left, right, up, down, and center, and it's just flat out wrong. And the day I can't stand up for my 11-year-old son, I mean, every parent should be stepping up for their son or daughter, and they're afraid to, but we have to change this now.
And the thing with this issue is you don't have to be a rock-ribbed, down to the bones, conservative, right-wing person to feel this way, to see what these teachers are teaching, and who they're telling them to look up to. These half-naked drag queens who are twerking. They're telling 4- and 5-year-olds, hey, this is who you need to aspire to be like. This is who your role model needs to be. They have drag. There was a school, I can't remember the name of it. They brought a drag queen in for a day to do these sexual dances and flaunt around. They gathered all the kids into one big auditorium, and this drag queen performed this sexual dance in front of little kids. And you don't have to be a rock-ribbed right-wing conservative to know that's just not right. That's just not appropriate. It has no place. I don't want my tax dollars paying a penny to that drag queen to show up at that school.
Right. I mean, your childhood is a precious, precious thing. It goes by like that.
Yep.
You know, why can't kids worry about playing kickball and worry about a math test and worry about having friends? You know, I mean, instead of they're drilling this down, and sexuality. I didn't care about sexuality when I was 10 years old.
Right.
I mean, let these kids have their childhood. Why are we shoving this down their throats? So it's the wrong thing, and more parents parents are pulling themselves out of the school in droves. I know around. I mean, I can only speak for this area, but there's waiting lists for every private school and Catholic school, or every private school to get into because of this agenda. People don't agree. They're upset. They don't know about it, and we as parents have to create awareness of this, because the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. So we have to get together and really uncover these things that are going on and do the right thing.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Let children have their childhood. Let kids be kids. Jim Jacobs, thank you so much for joining the show, sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.